What's up, guys? Now it's time for a matchup between two legends that I'm sure that all hardcore fans are very fond of. I can remember. I mean, these guys were fighting before I was even a fan. I'm talking, of course, about Jim Miller against Cowboy Cerrone. Now, before I get into this breakdown, just throw all the form books out the window. It doesn't matter for this fight because Jim Miller has never fought at welterweight before, and he's not a particularly big lightweight. In my opinion, Jim Miller is closer to a featherweight than he is to a welterweight. He's a similar size and stature, I would say, to like Clay Guida, and if Clay Guida can make 145, I mean, obviously Jim Miller is a career lightweight, but my point is he would be closer to the featherweight division than to the welterweight division. So my guess here is that Jim Miller doesn't have any weight cut whatsoever, and Cowboy is probably gonna have a good 10 pounds on him come fight now. Cowboy's last six fights, he's winless. He does have the one no contest against Nico Price, which was originally a draw, and to be honest, in my eyes, it's still a draw. It was overturned to no contest for some bullshit rule about marijuana. So in my view, it's a draw, and Cowboy looked decent in that, and he looked decent before. Some people actually thought that he beat Pettis before, and his you know he lost to Tony Ferguson, who was on the 12th. That was the 12th win of Tony Ferguson's 12 fight winning streak. Legendary winning streak that'll go down in history. Cowboy was the last win on that. So there's no shame there. And I believe Cowboy won the first round in that fight. Gaethje, okay, Gaethje chinned him. That now we're starting to see, okay, maybe Cowboy. We shouldn't be putting him up against the top five lightweights. In fact, maybe he shouldn't really be a lightweight at all because yeah, I think that is a tough weight cut for him, especially at his age, and it can't be doing his chin's any favour. The UFC did McGregor a favour, and McGregor did Cowboy a favour. They made that fight happen. They made it at 170. Probably never should have happened, but it did. I mean, it might as well have been a no contest. Cowboy just didn't show up. But he deserved the big payday, and he deserved that spotlight. That pay per view main event for his legendary career. So good man, Cowboy. You deserved it, mate. Right. His last fight, he didn't look good. Alex Morono, and I have no idea why he would be trying to move back down to lightweight again. Apart from the fact that he sees it as a more as that due to the size of the opponents, the fights are more winnable for him because obviously at his age he's in no position to be making a title run, and I think I think he's accepted that himself. He just wants to fight for because he loves it, and who can deny the man that? Jim Miller, however, has been on a bit of a better run lately. He's 3-3 in his last six. However, the last two guys he beaten were guys making their UFC debut, and if you go back before that, he's actually 5-3 over his last eight, and he has had a little bit of a career resurgence because I think he was on a 4 fight losing streak before, but to very good opponents. I think he lost to like Anthony Pettis and Dan Hooker and maybe Trinaldo in that time as well. And he was diagnosed with Lyme disease, and I think he was trying to figure it out, and it was affecting his career, it was affecting his life, it was affecting everything. Very inspirational to see him come back and still be. Yeah, I would say like I don't think he's going to crack the rankings again, but he even at this stage, Jim Miller is a good win to have on your career, and sometimes like Donald Cerrone, he just simply doesn't show up sometimes. It's like the lights are on, but nobody's home. And I think if you catch him early and you catch him cold, you can put him out. He has to maybe get hit a few times to wake up, and sometimes it's too late. Sometimes it's the medics waking him up. But on his day, he can be fantastic. I mean, we're probably now a few years past past prime peak Cowboy. But I believe if the Cowboy that showed up against Anthony Pettis a few years ago, that some people believe Cowboy won, or even the guy who showed up against Nico Price, if something similar to that Cowboy shows up against Jim Miller, I think he takes it, and I think Cowboy takes a split decision here. I think his because you're talking 6'1" against 5'8", right? I don't know if I read out the records. It doesn't fucking matter. They bought it about 50 fights anyway, right? 39 against 38, 6'1" against 5'8". Just that reach and that range is really gonna be play a factor, and the size as well. I believe Jim Miller is gonna have to press him. I think Jim Miller might have to look for takedowns, and Cowboys' jiu-jitsu game is not to be trifled with. Jim Miller, I think, is going to look to clinch him against the fence, and to grapple him there a little bit. I think he will have more success later on. I think Jim Miller will take the last round. I think round two will be up for debate. But I think Cowboy will get a lot of leg kicks, and I think the damage is going to show more on Jim Miller. Even though Jim Miller does have more left in the tank in terms of a career. And I believe this will potentially get Cowboy another fight in the UFC. I'm going Cowboy split decision.